Good morning, St Mary's. It's really nice to be with you on this Monday morning, even if it is virtually. Firstly, I'd like to start by saying a big thank you to Reverend Blewett for providing our collective worship last week. We always really enjoy welcoming Reverend Blewett to St Mary's, and obviously we were all really pleased that Bert was able to make a star appearance as well. It was lovely to see a lot of the comments that you'd written on your Google Classrooms to show how much you enjoyed seeing them both. Thank you. So today we've got another collective worship. We're continuing to look at this term's value, which is truthfulness. And to start, I've got a little true and false game for you to play. So I'm going to tell you 3 things about me, but one of them is false, okay? So I'm going to tell you 3 things. 2 of them are true, but one of them is false. And it's up to you to figure out which one is false, which one's a lie, which one is made up. Okay, so number 1. I've done a skydive. Number 2, I love watching football. Number 3, I can juggle. Okay, so have a think. 2 of those are true. One of them is false. One of them is made up. Okay, it's time to find out. Number 1, have I done a skydive? Yes, I have. I'll try and add some photographic proof to this. It was 17 years ago though, so it's made me feel very old thinking about this because it was way before most of you were born. Maybe I'll have to do another one. Number 2, do I love watching football? I'm really sorry, and I know that I'm going to lose some of my audience now, but no, I really don't love watching football. I like to play it, I like kicking a ball around with my 2 boys, but I can't stand sitting and watching it. Again, sorry. So that must mean if the second one was the lie, the third one must be true. And I'm probably going to have to prove that, aren't I? Okay, I'm going to have a go. Wish me luck. I haven't got much space. There we go. I have proved that. Now, that was just a little game, and I don't know if you managed to guess it correctly, that it was just meant to be a little bit of fun. And I'm not sure that I'm very good at telling lies about myself anyway. But in the Bible story that you're going to hear today, some people were very, very good at telling lies. And there was one person in the story that was very, very good at telling the truth, even when that was made very, very difficult for them. So I'd like you to listen really carefully to the story and see if you can work out who told the lies and who was telling the truth. Daniel was living in a foreign country far from his own home, but he always worked very hard. The king of this country noticed how hard Daniel was working and put him in charge of his kingdom. Some other men who worked for the king were very jealous of Daniel, but they could find nothing to accuse him of, so they resorted to plotting and lies instead. They went to see the king and they persuaded him to pass a new law, a law that said that everyone should worship the king and only the king. Anyone who disobeyed this law would be thrown into the lion's den. Daniel heard about the new law, but the next morning he did as he always did. He knelt down by his window and prayed to God, not to the king. The other men reported this to the king and insisted that Daniel be thrown to the lions. The king was very sad because he liked Daniel, but he knew that he could not break his own law. As Daniel was being dragged to the lion's den, the king whispered a little prayer, a prayer to Daniel's God, asking that Daniel might be saved. The king was so worried that he hardly slept a wink that night and rushed to the lion's den early the next morning. "Are you still there?" shouted the king. "Yes," replied Daniel. "My God knew that I was innocent, so he sent an angel to keep me safe and stop the lions from eating me. I'm fine. I really am." The king was so relieved to hear Daniel's voice, and he had him pulled out of the lion's den as quickly as he could. What's more, he had the men who had tricked Daniel thrown to the lions, and he passed another new law. This law said that people should worship Daniel's God, the God who had rescued Daniel from the lions. Okay, I hope you really enjoyed that story. So time to have a little bit of a think about that story. Who in that story was telling the truth? And who in the story was telling the lies? So it's time for a bit of reflection. We can have a little think about the story and what we could learn from it about truthfulness. And I'm going to read some questions for you to have a little think about. Why did the other servants not like Daniel? Why didn't Daniel bow down and worship the king instead of worshipping God? What do you think you would have done if you had been Daniel? Can you think of a time when you have stood up for the truth in a difficult situation? Is it ever okay to tell a lie? Okay, so there's lots of things that we can take from this story. So Daniel believed in something so strongly that he was willing to risk everything, even his life, to stand up for the truth. In the story, God honoured him for his truthfulness and saved him from the lions. And it sets us a really good example to try to stand up for the truth on all occasions and know that God will be with us in that decision to tell the truth. It might be easier sometimes to tell a little lie, but often one lie leads to another, and it can often mean that lots of people can get hurt in the process. So it would be a really, really good aim to be like Daniel and to tell the truth on all occasions, even when that's actually a really difficult thing to do. So we're going to finish today with a prayer. And remember, if you agree with the prayer, at the end you can join in and you say Amen. Dear Lord, thank you for the example of Daniel. Please help us to be brave enough to tell the truth on all occasions and help us to know that you'll be there with us when we find that hard to do. Amen. Really hope you've enjoyed spending some time today thinking about our value for this term, truthfulness. I also hope that you have a lovely rest of the day. Just want to say that you are all doing brilliantly out there, and we're so impressed by all of the work that's coming into school. I'll see you again soon. Take care and stay safe. Bye everyone.